welcome to our political platform program. This is me, your presenter, Lodwar Njeda. In our today's program, we are glad to host Honorable Peter Lam, the SPLM Interim Secretary General of SPLM. He's here today to share with us a lot of issues regarding the party. And as you know very well, he has just taken up the position, and for sure, he has a lot of things to tell you today. Honorable Peter, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
In the first place, when you took over this office, how do you feel? Do you feel challenged, or what was your impression after you actually won the trust of the leadership to take this position?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the leadership of the SPLM for giving me the trust to be Interim Secretary General of the party. Whenever you take on a new leadership role, there is always an anxiety that comes out with it. But when I took over, I had a specific program that I want to deliver. So I was not so much filled with the stress of new position, because I knew what I was going to do.
Okay, can you tell us what are some of these programs, especially the major priorities program that you have already in your mind that you want to execute after you assume this very important office?
You know, when I took the oath of office, I did not take the oath the way we normally take it. During that process, I delivered the program I wanted to do. One of the things that I said I was going to do was to create harmony within the SPLM, to have unity or purpose among the leaders of the SPLM, and to unite ourselves under Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, whom we will have to take us forward during the transitional period. That was number one. Number two was that we need to organize the SPLM from grassroots level all the way to the national level, because after the dissolution of 32 states, all the SPLM offices in the states and administrative areas were affected. So we needed to reconstitute the SPLM, and that is one of the priorities I have been doing. And we have visited and we have worked in Ruang administrative area. We set up the SPLM in all the counties, in Payams and Bomas. We went to Eastern Equatoria, we did the same, and we are planning to go to the other states and other administrative areas. The third priority that I have is that SPLM manifesto must be implemented by SPLM government, and that has been the challenge since 2005, because the agenda of the SPLM has not been the one being implemented by the government which it leads. So we are working very hard with our cadres to make sure, our cadres in government, to make sure that SPLM agenda is implemented so that South Sudanese can benefit from it. That's why sometimes you see me going from office of a minister to another office. We are discussing the priorities of SPLM that we need to see in practice in the communities. Priority number 4 has to do with ensuring that the party raises funds to be able to run its own activities, and we have been embarking on that since day one when I took the office, and we are continuing to see some results. Number 5 is that we want to build our international relations. We want to build an image of South Sudan that is presentable and mend relations with political parties and governments that used to help us during the national liberation struggle. And priority number 6 is the agenda for the next elections. We are developing an agenda for SPLM to use as a platform for 2023 general elections. So these are the priorities we have been working on. It's a robust program, but we are managing and we are trying to achieve as much as possible before that time comes.
Why implementing some of these priorities? What are the challenges you are facing in regards to these programs that you read out now?
The challenges are that you always have logistical challenges. You always have, South Sudan is a big country, and when your mission is to organize a party from Bomas all the way up. And we are in a country now where people have been displaced by insecurity, people have been displaced by floods, it is very difficult. But I'm so thankful to our cadres in the states that they have been able to reach out to our people, and we have been able to register our members, and these registrations have been going on very well. Our people love the SPLM and the grassroots. Our problem, I know, is concentrated here in Juba. In the countryside of South Sudan, people love themselves. It is us here who are looking for positions that are creating all kinds of instabilities for our people. So that is one. Number two, of course, creating harmony within an organization is not easy, but it is management. It requires diplomatic and constructive engagement skills, which we are trying to manage. We hope that we are in the right direction.
When you talk of harmony, what do you mean here? Are you telling us the SPLM in itself is not, they are not in good harmony?
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that the threat of SPLM is not from a political party that competes with SPLM. It is SPLM itself. And so if we are not able to bring ourselves together and unite under one objective led by Comrade Salva, we can easily slip again from the vision of our party. So we want to make sure that we follow the right path. We follow the one way that we have decided as leadership of the party, that this is the direction that SPLM wants to take us, and we must follow. Because we are a big party, and when you are a big party, there are many divergent views. And these views need to be harmonized. It is part of management of a political party.
When also you said actually the issue is the party itself, the members. What do you think? What is that factor that led to some people not to really adhere to the principles and you know of the party?
You know, sometimes not everyone has the virtue of waiting. And it is always ambitions that always create problems. When people wait for their turns to come, when people listen to, when collectivity becomes the major way of doing things, then you will have no problem. But when people are now beginning to think in a different ways, this is where the problem happens. And for us, we are going for convention. And if we are going for convention, we need to create that unity now before we get there. Because what happened in 2013 was that there were problems happening in the party, but there was no management of the crisis in the party. And people went to the meeting as though crisis can be resolved in a meeting. You resolve crisis before you go for the meeting. And so for us, we need to do things differently. We cannot do things the same old ways, which did not work. So we have to ensure that now we create that kind of unity within the party.
Okay, from the visit that you had to different states, including the 3 administrative areas, what did you learn from the people on the ground in regards to their needs exactly? What do they want from the ruling party exactly?
What they want from SPLM is that SPLM provides services for them. This is what they want, number one. Number two, they want the war to stop. And they tell me, go back to Juba, tell our chairman, tell our president, we need peace. Because when peace comes, we can do our small things where we are and be able to live our lives. They are tired of rebellions, they are tired of transitional governments, they need a stable government that can deliver services. So that is one of the things that I have found in the countryside. The other thing is that people love SPLM in the countryside. And I was amazed. A little young boy in Ruweng administrative area. We were moving from Pariang, going to a place called Jamjang. There is a small primary school along the road. They were told that I was passing by the road. So the students came outside. They were lined up on the road. So I came down to greet them. And when I came down to greet them, one of the members from our team asked a young child, SPLM mana tushunu. He's about 6 years old. Salu asma SPLM mana tushunu. Gal mana SPLM da panaru zatu. So because the Dinka of the area are called Dinka Panaru. Aye. So for that child, SPLM and Panaru are the same things. That means the ideology of the SPLM is in the minds of our people. And I was really happy with that experience. So our people love SPLM. What we need to do is, SPLM now, it is time for us to deliver those services that they need most, so that they are appreciated for their participation in the liberation struggle. What their moms and dads did during the war need to be now paid back to them in terms of services.
You touched something about the issue of manifesto, and you said very well that you immediately after you assume your office, you had that program moving from one office to another with the minister in the office of the ministers that are holding the position of the SPLM. What was your assessment in terms of delivering the manifesto that the SPLM had for them, for the people?
Our cadres have in mind the manifesto of the SPLM. The problem is delivery. And the delivery is made impossible.
Why is it impossible?
Because of lack of resources. You will find that the ministry has a budget, but because of war, the money doesn't come. There is no budget to implement big projects. That has been the bottleneck for them. It's not that no one really plans to fail. Like, nobody is appointed as a minister and they go to that ministry with a plan that I want to fail. No. Everyone wants to win.
But also remember some of these members. Remember some of these members of the SPLM. They have been there since 2005 when the war, South Sudan war, did not begin. And by then there is that huge amount of money given to them, but they have done nothing completely.
I would accept that there has been mismanagement somehow, but it is not the only explanatory variable. Take it like this. From 2005 to 2011, the preoccupation in South Sudan was preparing for a referendum. And you remember, Sudan refused to fund the referendum. Our South Sudanese government made the money available for the referendum to take place. Had we not had a wise minister at that time, Minister of Finance, we would have failed the referendum because there was no money coming from Sudan or the international community. So that period, 2005 to 2011, was a period of referendum, and we were all engaged in that, and most of our funds were engaged to that. From 2011 to 2012 or 2013, this was now the time for us to really engage in development. But then what happened? Power struggle took place in 2012, about February. We had a problem within the party. Some of our cadres now decided they wanted to challenge the chairman, and the preoccupation was now who was going to be the president of South Sudan, or the chairman of SPLM, and ultimately the president of South Sudan. And then from 2013 up to today, we have been engaged in war. And I can tell you, development and war are opposite. You cannot have war and at the same time also development. It doesn't take place like that. And when there is war, of course, everything goes to the national emergency. You cannot be developing. You will be protecting yourself. So that is what has happened. Really, we have not been given a chance. SPLM has not been given a chance to implement its manifesto. And we are hopeful that with this peace agreement, and after what has happened in the last 2 days, the agreement between the parties on the issue of command structure, hopefully now we are going to have a smooth transition where we can transition to a peaceful election, and after that now the development agenda can be implemented.
Okay, now we are coming to the issue of the implementation of this peace agreement. Many people wondered, why is it this implementation really going rough and smooth and really not consistently or slowly in implementation? Who is responsible over the issue of over the slow implementation of this agreement from the parties?
I think that first of all, peace must be from here, from your mind. It is not what is on the paper. Peace must come from your mind. If you are not convinced that peace has come to your mind, even if it is written, you will see it as an enemy. And so what has happened is that parties, even when it is necessary to make a compromise, they don't. An impossible condition will be imposed on you which cannot be done. That has been the reason for dragging us all along. This is number one. Number two, there are no resources that are dedicated. You know, most peace agreements are implemented, and they are expensive in terms of funds. And South Sudan government has been struggling to fund it alone. Our international partners, as you know, they have made a decision to see what we are doing, but they don't want to put resources to it. What they do is that whenever something that did not work the way they want, they will just criticize you. But when you ask them to come and be part of it, in terms of supporting the peace process, they run away. They say they don't trust the people of South Sudan. So this has been the problem.
Why are they not trusting the people of South Sudan?
I think it is them to answer that question. But
take into consideration you have been with Troika for the last few days.
Yes.
You had a meeting with them, and yes. I'm sure you throw that kind of question to them. Why are they escaping from or
I think
skeptic?
The reason for me to call that meeting with the Troika ambassadors was to explain to them what we are doing as a party and also as a partner in peace agreement, because we have a reason to believe that Troika has not been getting the right information. Because if you look at their press statement and the press statement of Dr. Riek Machar when he was pulling out his members from the mechanism, they were even more bitter than Riek Machar. I mean, more opposition than Riek Machar himself. It really meant that there was a problem between, there was a communication breakdown between us with Troika, and we were trying to explain to them. I also impressed it on them that for their criticism to be credible, they need to also contribute to the peace in South Sudan. Their job cannot be a collection of information and use it against us. They also need to show that they are partners in peace and that they have a contribution to make rather than reports writing them to their capitals.
What was their response?
No,
that meeting?
I think they appreciated the information they have gotten from us, and clearly they have all said that there has been a communication problem because no one is talking to them. Clearly they have said that, all the three ambassadors, and I appreciated them for that honesty.
But they are with JAMIX and these monitoring bodies all the time.
Which of these monitoring bodies do you think stands with the government of South Sudan? None of them. They cannot give positive information about South Sudan government. It is us to give it, not anyone else.
Okay, Honorable Peter Lam, some days back there was some political and security tension in Juba, and it happened that you have to meet the leadership. You went to the president, and you went to Dr. Riek Machar, who is the leader of the opposition. What did you tell them to the extent they accepted to actually cool down the situation, whereby people at least felt there is now people are on track about the peace?
You know, leadership is about crisis management and honesty. I met with our president, our chairman, and we discussed with him the issue of peace, that there was tension in the country because of what happened on the Sunday night. And what happened on Sunday night was a confusion. And so he said to me that the measure that was taken was in the best interest of the leadership. Because there were people writing in diaspora everywhere, even on telephones, that people wanted to create a problem. Somebody was told to go with a motorcycle with the AK-47 and start firing between the two houses of the two principals, so that they now start what happened in J1 again. And so for that to be prevented, a security measure was taken. It was not in the house around the house of Dr. Riek. It was an old perimeter where all the leaders were living. From the house on the road of the airport, it was blocked so that nobody comes this way. And then road from Oman away was also blocked, and road from Subjuba to this area was blocked. It was meant for their protection. But no one informed the first vice president of this security measure.
Okay, let us go for
that was the reason.
Okay, Honorable Peter, let us go for a break, and then we'll be back and continue with our discussions.
So this crisis we are in now is a temporary condition, and it will be overcome, and South Sudan will prosper, and our people will be happy again. This is a promise we make to our people as a SPLM.
Thank you very much. Whether it was in the movement or whether now. And the proof of this, there is nobody who is different or split from the SPLM wanted to form its own or their own party. Everybody wants to be attached
within themselves and where peace is coming. We are already in peace and will continue developing this peace. So they encourage discouraging those who loot the population and harass population. They should stop there, because that is not.
We were working as one body, as one South Sudanese, to achieve our goal from the urbanization of the Home al-Bashir by then. And by then, people were not comprising themselves into groups.
Because people seem to be forgetting, that one day, one time, they will come to the SPLM, contesting. Okay? So in that case, it is good actually to clear your bills as early as possible, because sooner or later we might approach, election.
Whoever holding an SPLM flag bearer is a member of the caucus. This is the caucus. When you come to the league actually, it is a group of entity of people who have understood the material and the vision and the cadres. So they become a league, a special league. You can't have the sport league. You have
people of South Sudan. It liberated this country for them, and it protected their rights from the beginning. And so therefore, whatever is happening today, people like to say that it is SPLM. It is not SPLM. It is individuals that were in the SPLM that created the problem for the country. If you just
that can be addressed. You can see. فده نقول حاجة للشعب بتاعنا. الشعب بتاعنا يفهم حاجة واحدة. يعني الناس بتاعنا يفهموا إنه الحاجة الماشيين يعملوا في حدث ده سلام. وده ما سلام جديد عشان الجهاد اللي كان مضى الاتفاقية.
Welcome back to our political platform program. I am Lodo Wadenjara. As you know, this program is coming to you every Thursday, and it is for a while that we have not been there, but I want to assure our viewers that this program will come there every Thursday. For our viewers who are following this program, don't miss it every Thursday. So today with me in this program, we are glad to host SPLM Interim Secretary General, Honorable Peter Lam, who is talking to us more about the activities of the party as well as the current political situation in the country. Yes, Honorable Peter, yes, people are saying who is supposed to give Dr. Riek the right information, because he's the Vice President of the Republic, he's the first Vice President of the Republic, and how comes he did not know that there are people or an army being deployed around his area and he was not aware?
Communication is a big problem in South Sudan. And it is not only to the first vice president, it is everywhere. People are not communicating. And we have been challenged with this. Even our partners, international community, say, you are not talking, you are not communicating. So what we have said really, and what we recommended for the two principles, is that they really need to have constant engagement among themselves. It is not necessary that the presidency meets, but the two principals need to meet once in a while and exchange views, even if it is not a political meeting. It can be over tea or over coffee or lunchtime. People interact. We are at peace. There is no reason for us to be secluding one and each other.
Who do you think blocks these kind of meetings?
I don't know, but it has to happen. This is what we are now emphasizing, that there must be this kind of meetings to take place. And I am very happy, and I thank our president yesterday. After meeting his brother Riek Machar, he said, my door is open. Anytime you want to see me, come. That is what we want to, that's what we really want, and that's what our people in the country want to see. When the leaders are moving together, they know there's no problem. People continue about their ways. That is it.
Also, people are saying Riek, since Riek came to Juba, he did not even visit any town in the country, or he was not allowed, or he did not go completely to see his people, at least to show that there is that peace really in the country. What could be the reason why Riek is not visiting? Is it because some people are describing it as he's under arrest, house arrest? I don't know. Maybe you can tell us.
No, I did not. That's one thing I didn't ask from him. I did not ask him why he's not visiting. But I also know that he's not under arrest in South Sudan. He can go at any time. As far as I know, I don't think there is anybody who prevents him from moving. One time there was a function where Honorable Angelina talked because she usually comes to these social functions. And she reported to the people that Dr. Riek didn't want to come because of the heavy protection that he uses to come here. Sometimes it does create uneasiness because there is a lot of protection. So instead of him going to these functions, he always prefers to send somebody to represent him. I don't think that him not going to the States is a result of anybody telling him that you are not able, you cannot move in the country. That is not possible.
Because some people are thinking with that tension sometimes, especially in the cantonment areas, might be he can send a message of peace to the people that, look, we are in the peace. There is no way out. You people can really do or still think we are in war.
I cannot speak for him, but I do think that if he really wants to go, he definitely can go.
Okay, Honorable Peter, we have heard you talking in many forums about elections, and can you assure public that election will take place? Because there is doubt still in the minds of the people whether this election will take place or not, because according to the agreement, many things are supposed to get settled, like the issue of the permanent constitution is supposed to be ready, and also the issue of census is not going there, it's not coming up yet, or it's not happening, and the issue of repatriation, everybody has to be in their places so that they are counted, and then so tell us about this issue of election.
As far as we are concerned, the agreement ends in 2023, and when the agreement ends, there is no transitional government of national unity. And all parties, by agreement, are supposed to do whatever it is possible to implement the agreement so that they do elections on time. This is in principle. Now, when you talk about implementation of the agreement, there are 10 issues that must happen for it. One of them is the formation of Artigono. It's already there. The biggest issue, the biggest hurdle, Chapter 2 of the agreement, which is the security arrangement, has been our problem. But now, in the last few days, we have done it. Once that is done, all these small things are one-day issues. Like, for example, you talk about Political Parties Act. It's already in the Assembly. You talk about transitional constitution. It's already in the Assembly. You talk about reconstitution of DDR, it's already reconstituted. You talk about the reconstitution of the Elections Commission. It is a one-day event. It is not a process. Elections law, you review the 2010 elections law. But what I can tell you is that there are two issues which I believe cannot be used as a condition for election. One of them is what you have indicated, repatriation of refugees and IDPs. Repatriation is a personal decision. It is not a system decision. An individual decides, I want to come back to South Sudan. The government of South Sudan has no legal base to go to Uganda, Ethiopia, wherever are to come back and force them to come here. No. The UN does not do the same thing. So if you try to wait for Genuine to return to South Sudan, you will very well have 10 years without election.
Already some people from the refugees come. They are willing to come, but
there is no problem. And anybody who wants to come, there is no problem on that. What I'm saying is, you don't tie repatriation to a political activity, because it is a personal decision. And if we were to wait for Genuine that time to repatriate from Sudan to come to South Sudan for you to do referendum, you wouldn't have done it, because some of them are still in America. You don't do it like that. If they want to participate in election where they are, this is a request they can make, number one. Number two, the issue of census. Census is a scientific process. You don't tie it to a political activity. We have 2008 census, which we already did. You project it to 2023 and you will have all the information you need about the next elections. Use the same constituencies of 2010 elections. Because if we want to wait for census of South Sudan, you are going to take another 10 years on this. It will not happen. So these are two things that must be discredited. I think anyone who says if the security arrangement is not made, then they are right to say that we cannot go for elections because the army is not unified. As of tomorrow, beginning from tomorrow, the army will have one commander. So there are no more commanders of different kinds. We will have just one commander-in-chief, and that is the president of the Republic of South Sudan. So if we say let's go for elections because now we have 10 months to go. And for you to compete against a deadline, you must have committees that are working on a specific timetable. You say the reunification or the unification of forces must take place between the 15th of April to 15th of May. That is the time frame you have put down. The constitution will be from this month to the next 2 months like this. Then you compete against that deadline. If you don't want to have a deadline and all you are doing is asking for extensions, you will never have an election. For example, when our leaders went to Rome and our Papa kissed their feet, when they came outside, Dr. Riek asked for extension for 6 months, for pre-transitional period. 6 months were put. What happened? Nothing was done. And then they asked for another 100 days. What happened? Nothing was done. So if you say tomorrow, let's have another 2 years extension, people will take their pillows and sleep. By the time you wake up, 2 years are finished, you want another extension. Is that the way you want to go? No. Junubin are tired of transitional governments. We need to have a real government that will deliver services to the people of South Sudan. And it is about time for South Sudanese to decide who is it that they want to be their leader.
Okay, now can I say your tour to some of these states, including the 3 administrative areas, and some of course are still waiting for you to go to them. Is it part of campaign now you're doing as SPLM, or?
We are not campaigning. We are organizing the party. The campaign will happen when the time comes. But as a political party, you don't move slowly. You will always wake up your members and you talk to them. We have not yet campaigned. We have not said a name of somebody yet. Because when you go for campaign, you are going to campaign against other parties. We have not done it. We are just talking about what we are doing. And as a political party, it is our right to organize ourselves. And I encourage other political parties. There are 54 here in South Sudan, some of whom are not registered. Only 14 are registered. But all the 54, I encourage them to go and organize their parties so that they will stop talking about lack of no political space. People assume that there is no political space. I tell them, do your rally. If somebody stops you from doing your rally, you tell us. Now you can say there's no political space. But you don't assume that there's no political space when you don't start. I will have established their office. Excellent. Congratulations to them. Let other parties do it. Because we need to have organized parties that will go and have a credible competition during elections.
Okay.
That's what we want.
Okay, Honorable Peter, can you tell us the report that was released by the National Security, including that company that helped them about the issues of crimes that was committed during the 2013 and 2016 crisis? Don't you think this thing will affect the implementation of the agreement?
No, I think that the report...
Where is it at this time?
I think the people of South Sudan had wanted to know what happened in 2013. And the president was very clear. They did not release the report in order to create crisis. Since we are now observing permanent ceasefire, and it also includes talking. We are not supposed to talk hostile against one another. So I think the report is released just for people to see what has happened in 2013, and I think we should really see it that way. We don't need to extend it to any other thing, because it is not an indictment of anyone. There is no court that has called anybody to go and testify. The report is outside there, and it is released. People can read it and make their own conclusions. That is
So
it.
do you think it will create another problem among the people? Because there are those who actually are affected by this crisis and they lost their dear ones. So do you think it's going to create another bitterness within the people?
You know, it has been 10 years. It has been 10 years, and the people of South Sudan, what they see in the report is what they already knew. We already knew what was in the report, even without knowing who said what, but we knew what happened, we knew who was doing what and who was saying what. So I don't think that we encourage our people to read the report as a document. It should not alarm anyone. This is not an incitement of any kind. We need peace in our country.
Okay, Honorable Peter, now we are, people have heard or have seen the good spirit of our leaders, President Salva and the first Vice President, in actually promising people for peace in the country. But still people are doubting. I don't know, how can you clear those doubts of the people, that because some people are saying, well, many times things are being signed but they are left there, no implementation.
No, I want to assure our people that implementation is going to take place. The 40% that is given to the opposition is real. And they have been, our president, our chairman has requested the opposition to bring their names, the names of their people that are to be appointed. So if it doesn't take place tomorrow, it will not take 2 days. It will happen. And the implementation will continue like that. We are going to press ourselves. It is a difficult thing to do. We are removing our own officers in their positions as SPLM to buy peace, to give them to other parties so that South Sudan can have security. This is a very big sacrifice. These are generals who fought to protect this government, to protect the SPLM. We are removing them now, bringing people who were fighting against them to take their positions. That is not an easy matter. And we are also working to convince those generals to please take it as the way politicians have been taking it. Because most of our politicians have been removed to bring people from IO, from SWA, from what. We say, for the sake of peace, let us honor what was signed and let us help our president bring peace to the country.
Okay, finally, do you have anything to add to what you have already said to conclude our discussions?
I want to say to our people that the SPLM wants peace to prevail in our country. Our president wants peace to prevail in our country, and I, as his Secretary General, we are working with him together to make sure that peace comes to them. And Victoria, based on my discussion with him, he is for peace fully. There is no return to war. Let us not be afraid. War is over. Let us think about what to do with our lives from now on. Peace has come to the country.
Okay, thank you so much, our Interim Secretary General of the SPLM, for giving us your time. I hope you will also still come and inform the public about what is taking place in the country or in the political arena.
Thank you.
Viewers of SSBC, with this, we have come to the end of our program. Till we meet again, bye for now.